Hello, greetings, viewers and learners. My name is Chamo Yantan from the School of Social Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Well, I take this wonderful opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to a discussion on the topic, Naga society and culture. We have been discussing so many things about the Naga society. Well, today we will try to cover up some of the important aspects which we have not covered. But well, before we go into the discussion on the Naga society and culture, I think it is important for us to reflect on what has been, what we have discussed in the previous classes. So let us try to give some reflection. Well, in the previous classes, we have also discussed about Nagaland as a vibrant state located in the extreme part of the Northeast. And the term Naga also implies the Naga tribes inhabiting in different parts of Northeast India and Myanmar. So which means when we talk about Nagas, it is not only about the Nagas who are residing in Nagaland, but also across the Northeastern states and Myanmar, some part of Myanmar as well. And Nagas belong to the Indo-Mongolian family and they speak variety of Tibeto-Burma languages. And Nagas are well known for their rich, colorful traditions, bravery, honesty, and love for music. And the state of Nagaland is inhabited by 16 tribes. And we have also discussed about the customs and traditions of the different tribes in Nagaland. For example, like Lothas, Aos, Angami tribes, which practices democratic, in their functioning of their society, and the Konyak, Sumi, Chang are, used to have a monarchy system. Of course, today things have changed. Well, and all the villages of the Naga tribes were politically and economically independent of each other, and they identify themselves with their village and holds great pride to belong to a particular village. Of course, no matter wherever they are staying, they still continue to hold, they take full pride, of their own villages to belong to a particular village. And we have also discussed about Nagaland, which is popularly known as a land of festivals. We have already discussed, why Nagaland is popularly known as a land of festivals. We have also discussed about all the tribal festivals. Of course, we could not cover all the tribes, but maximum we covered. We also discussed about Hornbill Festival, as the festival of the festival. We have also discussed about the Naga and the Morong, which is a bachelor's dormitory. Basically, it is an institution, right? And we have also understood the rich musical talents in the state. Well, so these are just a reflection of what have been discussed in the previous classes. Today we are going to have, as I have said, the topic is Naga society and culture. And the learning objectives for today's discussion are to understand the following. First of all, clan system in Naga society, the Naga community life, status of women in Naga society, feast of merit, impact of Christianity in Naga society, and headhunting culture of the Nagas, which is a very popular, used to be a very popular culture. And of course, Nagas are popularly known for their headhunting culture in the past. And also the Nagas in the contemporary. So keeping all these objectives in mind, the discussion is structured for on the topic Naga society and culture. Let's go directly to the first one, of course, the Nagas. Nagaland is fully a tribal state inhabited by 16 tribes, which we have already discussed. And it is also popularly known as a land of festivals, and Nagas were also popularly known for their headhunting culture, and it is also popularly known as a Christian state, which is the largest Christian Baptist state in the world. This is just a brief introduction, even though we have covered in the previous classes. Well, the Naga clan system. Well, unlike Western societies, it is very difficult for a Naga to conceive of a situation in which a person has no family members. For a Naga, a child is born not just into a nucleus family, but into a large family that is the clan. And for Nagas, the clan is an important part of an individual's self-identity and find concrete expressions in the mutual obligations the clan members owe to each other. And the most important features of a Naga society is that they, first owe alliances to the family, that is the clan, and the village, the tribe, and lastly, the Naga community. Well, we have also discussed a little bit about the Naga, the land, which belong to the people, and that we do not find any Naga male child who doesn't have a land. Actually, the lands, it is not individual's land, but it belongs to the clan, the family. Yeah, well, let's go further. And the Nagas consider marriage as a vitally, sacred institutions of society, and they raise, the ordain for the, procreation of a child for the continuation of a social unit. In marriage, Nagas generally gives the girls or the boys considerable freedom in choosing their lifelong partners, and marriage within the same clan is strictly forbidden under Naga customary law. If a person marries his or her own clan, then they are, as per the Naga customary law, certain kind of actions are being taken to them. Either they may be chased away from the village, or they may be not considered as a family members, and so on and so forth. These things are, of course, happening recently, but otherwise, this practice was very strictly, forbidden in the past in the Naga society. And Naga community life, one of the most colorful ingredients of the Naga society was its community life. And Naga individuals knows no other life except that of a community life. They work in groups, eat in groups, and sleep in group. That is like the dormitory where the male, the bachelors, they live together in that particular dormitory, and that is where they learn so many aspects of society, and also at the same time they also protect their village from that dormitory. That is where it is they sleep together, that is what it is meant. And there was no individual cultivation or harvesting alone. All things were done in groups. As you can see in the picture, a group of people are working together. Maybe today it is in in one of the members in the pictures field. Tomorrow it will be the other one. Likewise, they don't do alone, but they do in group. Yeah, so that's another very interesting community life in Nagaland. Especially it is still practiced in villages. Of course, in the cities these days, the farmings are very rarely done, means by the people who are settled in the cities. But most of them are people living in the villages. They still practice this, and people continue to practice this particular beautiful culture of working together. And the philosophy of individualism did not have much importance in Naga community life, and the individuals had no existence apart from the community, and the individuals had no right to build his own house alone. For example, if you are building a house, a thatch house generally, I'm talking about generally in the past, if any members, a group of people sees you, making your own house, they will just leave their own works and they'll come and join you to help you complete the house, in no time. So that is how they used to do alone. Of course, when they are about to build the house, they will fix the date, and whatever things are required, they will go and gather those things. And after that, friends and relatives or people in the village will be informed that he will be building his house tomorrow. So people, generally come there to help him complete the house building in no time. It generally takes just one day. Within one day, especially I'm talking about a thatch house. In those days, of course, these days the houses have changed now. And every year, generally in winter after the harvest, houses were built, turn by turn by the public free of cost. Like today I do for you, tomorrow I have to sacrifice for you. That kind of understanding was there. And so the Naga community life, especially in the rural areas, still it's very beautiful and it's very lively. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the status of women in Naga society. This is actually, I think it's very, very important. Well, in a classless or casteless Naga society, women have traditionally, enjoyed a high social position with a pivotal role in both family and community affairs as well. However, being a patriarchal society with strong warrior tradition, it is considered an honor to be born as a man. There are reasons for that, of course. Though women are highly respected in the society, in the Naga society, they are not traditionally included in decision-making process of the clans or the village. So this is, in the contemporary time, this is a challenge which the Naga society is facing, because traditionally the Nagas, a patriarchal, very strong male-dominated society. So when it comes to decision making in the village or in towns, women are not included. It is the male members of the clan who will represent their own clan, and they will, that kind of the decision is being done. So till today, this is a challenge which the Nagas are still facing, where women are not included in the decision making process of the clans or in the village. Well, I mean, yes, in spite of being the women's being respected, they have a high position in the Naga society. And apart from traditional practice that have generally care for women, the girl child, the present Nagaland society has been successful in achieving high women literacy, increasing sex ratio, health and entrepreneur development. In this context, it can be said that Naga women enjoys more privilege than most other women elsewhere in the country, and women were highly prized because women were regarded as a symbol of fertility, and therefore utmost care and protection were given to women. I'm talking about during the times of head hunting, because Naga belief we'll be talking about in the later part of today's discussion, but let me give you a brief understanding on this. Well, during the head hunting days, the women were very well protected. They were not allowed, by the villagers for enemies to capture them, because in one way, women were considered as a symbol of fertility, So if enemy catches a woman, from your house or from your village, and it is taken to their village, it is understood or it is believed that that particular village will have much more fertility. That is the reason why, capturing women was also a kind of a treasure. It was very well, in a way, like treasured, and at the same time, the women were also very well protected during headhunting days. We'll discuss furthermore on this. And men traditionally paid a dowry to the family of the bride at the time of marriage in the form of livestock. And this practice is different from most parts of India, where the bride's family used to pay dowry to the groom's family. A Naga woman also has a traditional right to divorce her husband anytime, but on a valid reason. Regarding dowry, well, as you know, in almost all parts of India, it is the bride's family who pays a dowry to the groom's family. But in the Naga society, it is the groom's family who has to pay dowry to the bride's family, because Nagas consider women to be a treasure. They are very much, they value, women in the Naga society. And till today, when a marriage is taken place, the expenses, almost all the expenses are taken care by the grooms, by the grooms. And of course, because of some understanding in the recent times, the bride's family also, they also contribute money for the marriages. Otherwise, it is like the groom's family who has to take care of the entire expenses of the entire marriage celebration. So yes, and for example, like certain, of course, even a tribe like Sema, to have many daughters is becomes an envy of the others, because if you have so many daughters, like you will be also getting a lot of dowries when they get married. So it was considered to be a blessing to have more daughters in the family. Well, we'll discuss further more on that. And Naga tradition does not exhibit any discomfort with the birth of a female child, and female infanticide is not known in the Naga society, and usually it is taken as a gift from the creator as much as a boy, and no discrimination is known in bringing up a girl or a boy child. And of course, in rare cases, her husband may also divorce a woman, even only on the ground of not bearing a male child. Yes, and of course, in the new emerging situation, women's status is described more in terms of her achievements in education, career, and position, etc. in a society. In fact, we can see that her role is not limited to the home, as was in the traditional society, but also outside the family. And it can further be said that education is the main indicator, for the development of women's status in the Naga society. And much progress has been made in the spheres of education, and they are occupying high position in the government jobs. And in today's time, Naga women have started entering into every profession, such as teaching, administration. Nagas have women who are IS officers, who are IPS officers, who are also like extremely doing well in the music industry, also extremely doing well in the field of fashion, even not only nationally but also internationally. And you can see the pictures over there. There on the right side, you see a group of 4 girls. They are popularly known as the Tetsu sisters, and they are known as the Naga global cultural ambassador. And they also represent India as a cultural ambassadors. They are very popular and very well known. And the other 2 girls, which you see in the pictures, one is a model and one is a singer, who are already has won recognition nationally. Even though like they are yet to get position in the decision making, yet many the Nagas women have really transformed, and they are doing extremely well in different professions. And headhunting, Nagas were popularly known because of this headhunting, but many people have a wrong understanding about the headhunting culture of the Nagas. So it is important to know why the Naga practiced headhunting. And headhunting was practiced not only in the Naga society, but also in practice in different parts of the world at different period of time. And the practice originated out of the belief that the soul matter on which all life dependent was stored in the head of human beings. That is also one of the reasons why the head was sought. And it was believed that whenever a person was beheaded and his head taken to another village, the soul matter inside the severed head was also transferred to that particular village. We'll try to understand further. And the highest glory Naga receive is bravery and success in war. And no young man could graduate to adulthood and be eligible to marry a high status woman without having completed the ritual of headhunting at least once. Over there you can see a Naga man fully tattooed, and you can see another a Naga man who is with the head, the skull of head. So for a Naga, like the highest glory, the Naga received is the bravery and the success in war. And one of the success that was counted was headhunting, that you are able to, bring heads of enemies from another village or another place. And they believed that the practice was also essential for maintaining the fertility of the groups and the well-being of the community. So they were not just headhunting, as a kind of a savage without any kind of reason, but because they were told, they were brought up in such a kind of with such kind of understanding that, bringing, an enemy's head to a village bring fertility of the groups and the well-being of the community. So if you are taught, if you are brought up in such kind of understanding, in such kind of belief, I think they will not even feel anything, any kind of, they will not feel any guilty of killing enemy and also bringing their head. In fact, they will take full pride in that, which the Nagas, they used to do. And you can see the people in these pictures with a hornbill feathers, well decorated, their body tattooed and well dressed up, ready to go for kind of a war, and yes, it's colorfully dressed up. And the headhunting, it was strongly believed that souls of a person reside in the head. And by taking a person's head, one capture their soul as well as their status, strength, skill, and power. See, so they believe that if you are able to capture the head of enemy, you are not only capturing his head, but you are also capturing his soul, his status, his strength, his skill, and also his power. So which means they believe that if you are able to capture enemy's head, all the power that was in him is transferred on you. Yeah, and it was also believed that once head is taken and preserved, their spirits also become an adopted members of the group or of the village. And it was also believed that God and their ancestors reward them for winning enemies' head. And in addition, a man's status was not established until he had hunted successfully, successfully, to say, in headhunting days, And it was also believed that the recipient, village would gain prosperity. Its population would increase. Groups and gathers would also multiply, which means by bringing enemy's head to village, you are basically bringing a blessings in the village. So such was the belief. Such was the belief of the Naga traditions, that they really, practice this headhunting. Of course, headhunting means not taking anyone's head in the village. No, if you take, if you kill somebody in the village, you will be totally, chased out. You will be totally disassociated from the village. You'll have to go away from the village. You will be chased away. Such was the practice. But, basically they take the head of the enemies. Enemies will, if you don't take their enemy's head, enemies will take your head. So the enemy also believed that by bringing enemy's head to their village, they will also multiply. And on the other side, they also believe that by bringing enemy's head to their village, they will bring more blessings to the village. So such was the understanding, such was the belief, and because of which it has made them, practice headhunting in the Naga society. And in the past, many Westerners would fully, without fully understanding their deeper aspects of Naga headhunting culture, wrongly criticize, considering the Nagas as violent, committing murder and savage practice. However, to the Nagas, headhunting was something noble to be admired, a proof of bravery and strength. It was also adopted as a form of patriotic and chauvinistic heroism. Yeah. And Naga headhunting was not senseless killing of enemy, but a tradition connected with the tribal principles of pride, heroism, justice, honor, and recognition. And the victim's head was a trophy of honor and bravery. And the American missionaries played a vital role in bringing the headhunting culture to an end. And in a headhunting raid, the heads of women were highly prized because women were regarded as a symbol of fertility, and therefore, utmost care and protection of the women, and children were always taken in order to prevent losing the village fertility. And the impact of Christianity, Nagaland today is considered to be the largest Christian Baptist state in the world. And the conversion to Christianity is the main factor for the change in tribal culture, both in terms of economic and socio-cultural life of the people. Here you can see in the pictures young men and women well dressed up, for choral singing competition. And the impact, again, the arrival of Christianity among the Nagas was the most important landmark in the history of the Nagas. And today, more than 95% of the Nagas are Christians, and Christianity has changed the Naga society entirely, and it bears little semblance, to the tribal society that it was a century ago. Because of this education, and along with education, Christianity was brought to the Nagas. And with the impact of Christianity, there's a huge transformation in every aspect of the Naga society. And the missionaries had used education as an instrument to convert the Nagas to Christianity and open the doors to have a global views outside their community. And of course, Christianity has brought to the Nagas the idea of humanism, or in other words, new value judgment concerning the word of the people around them. And the Naga traditional life was guided by, of course, it was superstition and taboos. Most of the Naga traditional life was fully guided by superstition and taboos. So with the with the coming of the Christianity in the Naga society, their entire outlook changed. And for instance, they consider people dying of unnatural death as the malice of the evil spirits, and therefore taboo to touch. It was taboo to touch somebody who has died in unnatural death, and the crops, at least they will be inflicted with evil fate. Myok, it's called in Lotha dialect, it's called myok. So they feel that if you touch the body of a person who had made an unnatural death, the evil fate will also come on you. But now with the teachings of the Christians, love and concern for fellow beings, they began to have a new attitude or sense of responsibility towards other people. Therefore, we can say that Christianity liberated the Nagas from their superstitions and fear. And so, let us just sum up the reflections of what we have learned today. Today, we have learned about the clan system in Naga society. We have also learned about the Naga community life. We have also discussed and learned about the status of women in Naga society. We could not discuss about the Feast of Merit because of time. And we have also discussed about the impact of Christianity in the Naga society. And we have also discussed about the headhunting culture of the Nagas. And the Nagas in the contemporary, because of Christianity impact, there's a lot of transformation, education and Christianity impact. There's a huge transformation in every aspect of the Naga society. So with this, we come to the end of our today's discussion. Yeah, so thank you very much.